As followers of Jesus, we've been given a big calling, one that is way beyond our ability to accomplish. He's called us to live a life that looks like His life, a life that has the same character and the same goals and the same motivations that we see in the life of Jesus. But as followers of Jesus, He has also made us a big promise that He doesn't leave us alone to try to figure out how to accomplish what He's called us to do, that doesn't leave us alone to try to figure out in our own strength, in our own wisdom, how to live like Jesus. He promises that He will be with us, that He will work in us, and that He will work through us. Chapter 13, Jesus gathers His disciples together for one final meal with Him before He goes to the cross. And from Luke 22, we know that right in the middle of the meal, the disciples had yet another argument about which one of them was the greatest. And so here in John 13, Jesus decides that He needs to give them a new definition of what it means to be great. He stands up, He grabs a towel and a basin of water, and He humbles Himself like a common household servant, and He kneels and washes the feet of every one of His disciples, including Judas, who He knew was about to betray Him. And then He says to them when He's done, "Do you understand what I've just done to you? I, your Lord and your teacher, have humbled myself to serve you. And this is the way that you're supposed to treat one another, not competing with one another for greatness, but loving one another." And He goes on to tell them that this kind of love is the true evidence that someone really believes in Him, the true evidence that someone really belongs to Jesus. Verse 34, He says, "Love one another as I have loved you. By this, all people will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." And so if we are true followers of Jesus, He's saying, our lives will increasingly reflect a love that looks like His love. That's a big calling. But with a big calling, remember, comes a big promise. Chapter 14, He tells His disciples that everything that they have seen Jesus do is because of the presence of the Father working in Him. In the same way, then, He promises that as we walk with Him, as we live for His purposes, we can be sure that He will work in us and that He will work through us to enable us to be and do everything that He's called us to be and do. And He won't just sit around and wait for us to ask for it, but He says that He is going to give the gift of the Holy Spirit to those who believe in Him. Jesus says the Spirit will always be with us, that through the presence of the Spirit, Jesus and the Father will come to us and make their home with us. He says the Holy Spirit will teach us everything that we need to know, that He will cause us to remember all of the things that Jesus has said. And then in chapter 15, using a beautiful illustration of the vine and the branches, He promises that if we walk closely with Him, if we dwell in His Word, if we continually surrender to the leading and the empowering of the Holy Spirit, He promises that we will bear much fruit in our lives. And what does that fruit look like? It looks like the life of Jesus. He goes right back to where He began a couple of chapters earlier. He says it again now in chapter 15, verse 12. "This is my commandment. Love one another as I have loved you." Last time His example was that He washed the feet of His disciples, a love that humbles itself and serves. Now He raises the standard even higher, much higher. Verse 13, "Greater love has no one than this, that He lay down His life for His friends." And then a few hours later, He went out and demonstrated that love when He gave His life for them at the cross. He calls us to love like He loves, and He promises us to give us everything that we need in order to do that. He promises that as you walk with me, as you trust me, as you surrender your life to me moment by moment, as you live for my purposes, my Spirit will always be in you. He will work in you. He will guide you. He will teach you. He will empower you, and He Himself will testify about me through you.